Okay, this is really weird. I can't stream Godot. How does it... Godot isn't capturing. In any case, I guess I want to make a Light 3 game. You know, back that old Tiger Electronics game. But also have some social commentary in it. But yeah, all the talk of Yasuke and all this other stuff, everybody calling each other racist, just reminds me of all the times we were told to die, all the times that we were told we were pets because we were part of GG, and that it all just happens again. It's just all happening over and over again, where the lies win out. And there's a lot of money to be made from the Department of Defense, no less. And how Take This, a charity in Washington, well, I tried to talk to him about that, and well, they just cut me right off. They just made sure I was banned and I couldn't do anything. All their resources are just. I don't like being compared to a mass shooter. This isn't how it works. It's not how any of it works. And we still have people lying. Still the censorship. I get death threats. I just got a death threat last week. No, no, no. Yeah, okay. Or this week. I have to check my calendar. It's not going to be the first. It's not the first. It won't be the last. All because I stood against the censorship of Skullgirls. And I have an image of that. I published that story. Nobody's doing a thing. I called the police. I mean, they called the police before I published the story. My goodness, I'm not going to be one of those. And now Skullgirls team and all their stuff are just, they don't care. They said they had to come to a decision. I feel like I'm being spun a yarn. Some of them said they cared. I mean, it was nearly put in the madhouse because, locked away in the BHU because they censored it. Like, this is something that I really care about. It's a question of artistic integrity, freedom. You can't censor the nasty bits of police brutality. You can't censor an umbrella thinking that you're going to help stop the Nazis. This is just to be in line with Apple's guidelines. It can't be any of the good ideas that they mentioned because they just talked to a lawyer about it, I'm sure. It's just not there. The only one that listened probably isn't listening no more. That I was trying to proselytize, all that other shit. But as soon as you bring this up, you're always going to be considered a bigot, or even if you're talked to, you're just not going to be heard. You're not going to even be able to speak. The first thing people do for a narrative is lie. And it's sad that people go the pro censorship route and like condemn and everything else. It's because they don't want to be associated with an anti censorship person. The foaming jugs, the change the cover, the censorship of D&D, it's all just too much. And if I can't, I guess I can't stream Godot, so it's whatever. And, who cares? I mean, I care a lot, but I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I can make anything. I don't know what I can do. And Pirate Software is probably ain't gonna care. He can't. He just can't. He's just probably gonna dunk on me. Probably dunk on other people because Twitter are trying to save gaming. Oh, no, they are trying to save gaming, and I guess Thor Software, Pirate Software might be in the way because if he ever took a hard stance, he might lose everything, and I don't blame him for not wanting to risk it. But I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe I'm not just off base. but they'd care to some extent. I hope. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like I'm watching him as a way to pretend to feel productive and worthwhile in life, where I can't. I just cannot take it anymore. I don't know what I can do for my fight, or if I have a fight to be had, or it's just over. And if it's over, I just can't take it. Evil wins all the time. And all this corporate takeover, all the sanitization, all the bowdlerization, even Disney with all its stuff, taking away Splash Mountain, trying to disavow its own past. It's chicanery. It's lies. It's not progress. Agatha Christie, Roald Dahl, all these things censored. Chrono Cross, Dokapon Kingdom, all these games censored. Triangle Strategy, the bad localizations, Iridan, 100 Heroes Chronicles. Yeah, and Tim Schafer just calling us terrible. It's very strange how Thor praises Total Biscuit, but doesn't seem to be aligning with him on other issues. But I guess it's human. Maybe that's just me, or maybe it's just my frustration. Probably exactly my frustration because I don't. I guess I'm jealous. I don't have his platform, and some of the filmmakers and everything else, they're getting what 7 people. They can't grift on this issue. The idea that anybody could grift on having my perspective is absolutely insane because it doesn't make gangbusters. It doesn't sell. Not in the papers, not in anything. And we still have people lying. Still have people lying to this day. And I wonder if any of it's going to change. I want smack talk back. I want to be able to say the words I can't say anymore. I want to be free. It maybe sounds strange to me, but autistic, I really can't deal with these arbitrary constraints. I can understand being kind. I can understand not being terrible to people, but I hate the bullcrap. I hate the censorship. I mean, we say it's for feminism and all that, but when it's actually looked under a feminist lens, it all falls apart. It really is. And Anita Sarkeesian microaggressed against trans individuals. Zoe Quinn is abusive, and yet she's still seen as a victim. All because her victims were male assigned at birth, that nobody cared. We have Carmack and Basecon and all these people being called alt-right Nazis or terrible or bigots and all that other stuff. That everything like anti-DEI measures are innately misogynist, racist, all that stuff. That's a cry lose trump card. These consultants have a vested interest to lie, to invent problems. We know them as sensitivity and beta readers. They even call themselves exactly as such, offering their services to read these things. It's a lot of chicanery. And if you don't hire them, they make your life miserable. That is what one author has said. That's what was said in Tachyon Blue's interview. And even when you do hire them, they don't look over your work very well. They're paid by the word and all that. The person that I'm talking about, the author, I forget their name, had their stuff looked over, and the sensitivity rater said, "Well, now this is a modern thing. You have to have female uh, troopers and everything else in your guard and in your story because that it would be more gender diverse." Well, it already was. Already was in the book by no small extent of the imagination. But so it really goes to show how absolutely cozy it is. There is a vested interest to keep the grievances of people like me, my minorities, me as gay, or anybody, women and minorities, just to say, well, keep it in the forefront of everyone's mind because it pays. It pays in sympathy and pays in money. And if we ever actually, and so it's as if they have acquiesced the idea that we can't fix anything. That even though some of the battles are largely won and there's more battles to be had, that we have to focus on fiction to change people's minds. That's not effective. When you fix symbols, all you are fixing is symbols. These are people that don't seem to differentiate between an icon and reality. And somehow we have ideas of objectification over actual objects that are polygons. And that if and then even if let's say that they were real, we're trying to protect their virtue when it's not a virtue that's ours to protect. A lot of the stuff with the Miranda's behind was done by straight white men trying to see, oh, you must be sexist if you want it uncensored, or it's gross or something. No, no, that's how it adds to the workplace if you women wrong or something else. This is why people are so afraid to women are so afraid to come forward in a way. And this was said by women. This was said by everything. And we also have the worship of ugliness. Just Some Guy made a very fantastic video on it. Stellar Blade was indeed censored through gore and that graffiti. Never mind the other stuff. It's just that a lot of people are trying to use and abuse victim status or hurts and pains as a way to extort art. But maybe I'm no different, and I fear that. The thing is, we actually had bomb threats. We actually had these things, and all these noble intentions just don't seem to add up. And I don't know what's what. Persona 3 Reload was censored. God. That trans scenes was funny, even though I'm LGBT. Other people disagree. I know people say it was in bad faith. But the Persona 4 Royal, I was gay, and that scene should not have been fixed. I, I don't understand this fixing. Like, how is it that a scene or a joke in a game is going to make things difficult for me? A lot of our uh, positive representation were the jokes, were the butt characters, or no, they weren't jokes, they were just stereotypes. And stereotypes are not harmful like that. Not like that. Not in fiction, not when it's made and understood to be a joke. If we're going to say that ideas and preconceptions and the salient principle are going to be bad, then why don't we do it with Mario? Be the Italian stereotypes, Irish, or the jokes about the nasty jokes about the English and their teeth. It or man bashing. It just doesn't have any consistency. It's either all bad or or not, and we just have these very strange double standards when you ever analyze it. And I know it's very strange to be anti censorship. Like, oh, do you just want to be cruel? No. Is that if we have the case where the reasons and why even the worst speech can be defended, why can't this? Why can't a, why is a joke seen as problematic? Why does it always creep up, and seen as tantamount to hate speech? And why are governments worldwide? Why are we? Why do those ratings boards and all the like have to do all that? Why should we respect anybody? I mean, is it respectful to censor? That's my thing. I mean, drag could have died a death because we have people saying that drag is woman face, that it's disrespectful. We actually have that going on. And with the Equal Rights Act and the GRA, we're going to be swept under the carpet like Amos and Andy and Aunt Jemima. But there's no idea of reclamation. We have to destroy the statues and everything else because they symbolize. No, you can retextualize and build bigger. Instead of destroying the Confederate statues, we could actually have a theater group, and also so they could actually use their African American studies degree. So we could actually recontextualize. We could build bigger, like like the dignity statue. If that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what will. It's a beautiful statue. And the Native American Guardians Association that educate, not eradicate. Like these are symbols, these are things, and we're so sick of the white liberal or the pseudo liberal trying to take offense on behalf of others. That people who are actually, Native American, as bigoted as terrible that is, or indigenous, said to these people, at least I can call myself Indian because at least that term is a testament to the stupidity of white explorers at the time. I can understand indigenous and American replacing Indian because India is a big mover in the economy. If only for, you know, if only for to be, better understood. But it's also very conflicting, especially with gender and all that other stuff. But the censorship, the everything, I think people are asking for radical changes without even seeing if they're good or not, or if we even know. Who's saying there are four lights? Who's correct? And even then, does it matter? I fear that with the push against misgendering, do people still believe what they believe, that there are only two genders? And are they still trans exclusive, but are more hidden down that we've actually just made it an offense? Are there wolves pretending to be sheep? Did we really change anybody's mind by putting these standards in place? Of course, we should respect individuals. But what does respect look like? And it's also making so we can't talk about it. So we have this radical pushback against it as well. And no, feminism hasn't really come up because we realize there's a lot of turf stuff when it comes to this. That Nia Sarkeesian was very anti-trans in many ways, and that she said believe all victims, but she didn't believe the male assigned victim that was Aaron Ganji. And these are a lot of thoughts I have that I don't know how to put into words. I don't know how to contact game companies about this against the censorship. Remember Bully? It was parodying so much. We had the midget fights, we had the everything in the townies because of the carnival in there. We had so much fun. The big equality sign looking suspiciously like Hitler and all that stuff. Even the gosh darn Confederate jacket. It's just, it's like everyone has lost a sense of backbone, especially because games were under attack in the same way they are now. Just under a different camp, under a different banner. Sometimes the same exact people. We're seeing the same demons like Jack Thompson come back and write for Kotaku, for Christ's sake. And that's not a good thing. It's like everybody forgets because if you go on Twitter or say something on social media, you're going to get hunted. The bullies never went away. All the terrible, nasty people at Something Awful or 4chan are pale in comparison to this new people who excuse their bad behavior under the guise of goodness. And that's what social justice, political correctness, all is. It's an insidious form of totalitarianism that guilts people, even internally. At least with the box standard, not totalitarian. With the Christians, like you must chop off give her a double mastectomy in Knickknacks, the Disney cartoon, the Pixar cartoon, or else you are terrible. It's not family values. It's the same. Just replace family values with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and you get exactly the kind of thing. Christian family values, that is. It's the same sort of cult. it's the same sort of lockstep bullcrap, but now this is more, more evil because it games our sympathies and morality. That you like liberalism, right? Of course we do. That's fantastic. Well, we're more liberal than you, so we have to be the inheritors of the liberal experiment. We are better than you. If you are against us, then there's a problem. And so we have that. In fact, the dev of Ori and the Blind Forest and the like had a very well reasoned response against quote unquote wokeness. And so the woke were, reasonably upset because they want to protect their narrative. They don't want to be, they don't want to confront the idea that maybe in all their good intentions, they've actually done terrible things that make them the bad guy that they try to seek to destroy. At least one side has reflection, and it's not theirs. Or the people that anti hate hammer or whatever, calling Jewish people big horrible, and it's just too much. Like they call Jewish people. I mean, they say they're against bigotry, but then they call a Jewish gay man the Kaesler on 5 separate occasions, and then deny it ever happened. At least the Chuds, at least Arch Warhammer, and all those other people admit that they have strange orbiters and don't claim them. We have it because a lot of those people are just frustrated. But some of them are genuine bigots and they should be decried. Yes, absolutely. But most of it is just smack talk from an internet age where everything else. I guess a lot of this and all the safety, all this other bullshit is because humanity was not prepared for the beauty of the old internet. The quote unquote old internet. It's not old, it's just at 2015, some weirdos in social media companies say you can't do that. Even the Taliban mocks us. That how can you say you're for freedom if you can't say what you want on Facebook? And they're absolutely correct. And we've seen the slide down to make everything more marketable, more appealing, are the more appealing to the masses. And at the under the pretext of being inclusive, diverse, and not disparaging to people. And we see companies do this all the time. The advertisements are just bland. It really is lowest common denominator. I can understand why people call it capitalism in decay, but I'm not sure it's that. It's probably some other ideological. I think it's a little bit more complicated because in doing all these efforts, they seem to be losing some money, but not enough. It's normalization of of terrible things, and we're entering a new Victorian age. No, even worse, the Spanish Inquisition, and it's having a lot of institutional pull. And it's so strange because people that were saying that the loss of affirmative action and the DEI being ruled in the courts, ruled against in the courts 9-0, are somehow saying this is going to be a Holocaust. But no, it's not. We're going to see something that's a little bit more equitable, I think. Ironically, I think we're going to see something that's more diverse, ironically. I guess it's like love. When you stop looking for it, you get it. And I guess I thought I was gonna do work today, but I can't. I can't stream it. Um, I can't. I'm allergic to work. I guess I'm not a good person. I realize this. Gosh, damn it! What am I gonna do? All those years taken away, all the damage that the industry done, and nobody even realizes it. There are people that defend censorship vehemently. I'm not sure if they even believe their own words. And if they do, what's the difference? If they don't, what's the difference? It's compliance. It is fear. It's worship of the dear leader. So it's no wonder they call it Marxism or whatever, because it's Antonio Gramsci's march through the long march through institutions. It's going to be really heady theory and all that, and it's just nuts. And will never be heard. It was all about when something was about ethics, they made it about harassment and harassment, 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 all to detract from the real issue. Meanwhile, me and my friends were harassed. I get death threats. Everything happens, and developers get death threats too. I just can't. Curse me. And I'm making this as a cry for help. What am I doing? You don't want to hear a grown man cry. I don't even have chat up. I got nothing up. I'm not even sure if anybody's listening to this, but it's hard to understand the point of going on, especially when the world is embracing lies in all of it. Where DD gets floated, requires sensitivity readers, it's just the worst. There could be different modules, different things can overdo it, but not censorship, man. Let people enjoy the different things that they want. Let the thousand flowers bloom. Ironically, as I quote Mao. Maybe that's a good idea, though. Crap, and I'm streaming in the wrong topic. Whatever. I'm done for now. Maybe I'll go right to streaming Cryptmaster or something. Christ on the cross. How do I build a channel? How do I do anything?